This was what Howard Carter reminisced about the opening of King Tut's tomb. As my eyes grew accustomed to the light, details of the room within emerged slowly from the mist. Strange animals, statues, and gold. Everywhere the glint of gold. For the moment, an eternity it must have seemed to the others standing by. And when Lord Carnarvon, unable to stand the suspense any longer, inquired anxiously, "Can you see anything?" Carter was almost too excited to reply, "Yes, wonderful things." However, was it really that wonderful? The curse of King Tut is among the world's most mysterious curses. The reason why people believe it is many of the people associated with opening died or suffered not long after. King Tut's glittering and enticing treasures quickly made great headlines, not only because of the treasures found, but also because of the superstitious accounts of the subsequent deaths. This included Dr. Carter's financial supporter, Lord Carnarvon, and many other people involved in this project. The discovery created a worldwide press sensation and stories about the curse on anyone who dared to disturb the pharaoh's peace. Famous British writer Arthur Conan Doyle even told the American press that an evil elemental spirit was aroused to protect the mummy, and this supernatural force could be the reason for all the horrible incidents. When Dr. Carter opened a small hole to peer inside the tomb at treasures hidden for 3,000 years, he also unleashed a global passion for ancient Egypt. In ancient Egypt, only the pharaoh, the representative of the gods, had the right to cast spells. It is said that Carter found several curse inscriptions during the excavation, one of which said, "Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the king." Many people didn't take it seriously at first. Well, because rationally speaking, if you bury a dead king in a room full of treasures, it kind of makes sense to write down this kind of message to scare away tomb raiders. Rumor even had it that Dr. Carter propagated the curse in order to keep tomb raiders away. After all, the discovery of King Tut's tomb had brought too much attention. However, they soon realized the curse might be dreadfully true. When the excavation work was still in progress, Tutankhamun's retaliation had already begun. The first victim was not human, but Dr. Carter's lovely Canary. It was taken on the very first day when the tomb was discovered. You might say it was just a coincidence, but when the dead canary was found in a birdcage hanging outside of Dr. Carter's door, a huge cobra was coiling inside the cage with the canary hanging from its mouth, bleeding with dislocated dead corpse. What was even creepier was the connection to the statues guarding the entrance to the burial chamber in the King Tut's tomb. Both of them wore a golden helmet decorated with a uraeus. Uraeus was a symbol of divine authority in ancient Egypt, and take a closer look at this. It was the shape of a cobra. So coincidence or not? Or should we see this horrible demise as a warning of incoming danger because the peace of the divine pharaoh was annoyingly disturbed? Since the opening of King Tut's tomb, mysterious accidents had happened to many people involved in the excavation. The New York newspaper even published an article captioned, "Tomb Digging to Go On Despite Curse of Egypt." On April 6, 1923, a few months after opening the tomb, the first curse fulfiller appeared. Death came upon Carter's financier and one of the very first men to enter the tomb, the Lord Carnarvon. On the day while Lord Carnarvon was shaving, he accidentally cut open a mosquito bite. It might seem a very common insect bite, but this trivial bite led to a serious blood infection. Doctors later confirmed Lord Carnarvon's death was caused by the bite of a poisonous mosquito on his cheek in the tomb, which led to pneumonia and severe infection. What was even stranger was at the moment of his death, Cairo suddenly blacked out due to a power outage. The entire city was in darkness. His pet dog, all the way back in his house in London, also died after growling at the moon that night. Strangely, his wife died in 1929, also due to a poisonous insect bite. However, some claim that Lord Carnarvon got into a fatal car accident in 1903, and ever since the accident, he had always been prone to severe infection. One severe bout of pneumonia could easily put him to death. Therefore, his death was unlikely to be related to the pharaoh's curse. But how would you explain more deaths associated with people from Carter's exploration team? Carter's personal secretary, Captain Richard Bethel, was also found dead in his bed from suspected smothering at a Mayfair club. Bethel's father, Lord Westbury, was also involved in the excavation project. He plunged 7 floors to his death from his St. James apartment in London, where he reportedly kept tomb artifacts given by Bethel. Aubrey Herbert, Lord Carnarvon's half-brother, became blind first and then died suspiciously in a Park Lane hospital shortly after visiting Luxor. It was said that upon entering the tomb, Aubrey Herbert remarked aloud, "Something dreadful is going to happen to our family." Another victim was Egyptologist Sir Ernest Wallace Budge, who worked for the British Museum. He was found dead in his Bloomsbury home. Guess where King Tut's treasures were displayed? That's right, the British Museum. So far, if you still don't believe the curse, the list can continue to go on. Sir Archibald Douglas Reed also died suddenly after he carried out the initial X-ray exam on the mummy. His cause of death even doctors failed to explain. Hugh Evelyn White, one of the first exploration team members, he went on committing suicide by hanging himself after writing down his last words, "I killed myself because of the curse." Many other people also died just within a year of visiting the tomb. Famous people like Prince Ali Hemel Fahmy B and Sir Lee Stack, the governor of Sudan. A series of deaths puts people involved in the excavation in extreme panic. One incident not related to death but still spooky happened to Sir Bruce Ingram, a close friend to Dr. Carter. He was given an ancient Egyptian paperweight as a gift. It was shaped like a mummy's hand with a scarab bracelet on its wrist. On the bracelet carved the words, "Cursed be he who moves my body. To him shall come fire, water, and pestilence." Not long after receiving this gift, Ingram's house suffered a terrible fire. It was eventually rebuilt, but then again suffered a great flood. In all, 8 people who were present when Tutankhamun's tomb was discovered dead for some unexplained reasons. However, there was one exception. Carter was the only person who escaped the pharaoh's curse. He died in 1939 at the age of 66, 17 years after the excavation. It was like that one kid who drags everyone to skip class but later got away with it, while other kids get punished harshly. Some explanation for the pharaoh's spell is an incredible energy in the tomb. After being buried for 3,000 years, this energy was poured out when the tomb was opened, so everyone involved in the opening were exposed to the ancient mysterious energy attack. In recent years, some have suggested the pharaoh's curse was biological in nature. The most convincing explanation was ancient Egyptians put viruses in the tomb to prevent tomb raiders. It could also be that the sealed tomb contained pathogens that can be dangerous or even deadly to those who open them after thousands of years, especially people like Lord Carnarvon with weakened immune systems. Lab studies have shown some ancient mummies carried mold, which can cause congestion or bleeding in the lungs. There was also a novel theory suggesting it was not the tomb, but local sanitary conditions in the 1920s, and it was Egypt that was responsible for those deaths. F. DeWolf Miller, professor of epidemiology at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, said Upper Egypt in the 1920s was hardly what you'd call sanitary. The idea that an underground tomb, after 3,000 years, would have some kind of bizarre microorganism in it that's going to kill somebody 6 weeks later and make it look exactly like blood poisoning is very hard to believe. Although we are not really certain what caused these deaths, what we know is King Tutankhamun has left a rich historical heritage for future generations. May we wish him rest in peace. Well, that's for today's video. Leave your comments below to let us know what you think about the curse. Is it true, or was it all made up? And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss out on our latest videos. As usual, thank you for watching Binge History, and we will see you next time.